Yo, what's going on, everybody? My name is Kofuzi, and this is normally a running channel, and this content does apply to runners as well, and it's going to be somewhat running related, but I think it might apply to some more of you out there who are interested in knowing what it was like for a regular person to get a COVID vaccine booster. So earlier this week, I went up to my local pharmacy to get a Pfizer booster shot. Now, I know that for most of you already had Pfizer or Moderna. A lot of you aren't eligible yet to get your booster shots. I got Johnson & Johnson about 6 months ago. I got it back in the middle of April. And so my understanding of the guidance was if you got Johnson & Johnson, after 2 months, if you're 18 or over, or basically anyone who can get Johnson & Johnson or who did get Johnson & Johnson, can get the booster shot, and you can get any of the three that are available to you. You can get Johnson & Johnson, you can get Pfizer, or you can get Moderna. So I wanted to make it as easy as possible for me, so I just went with whatever they had at my local pharmacy where we normally get our prescriptions filled. It took me 2 days. I had signed up for a Monday, and I got a Wednesday slot. Went up to the pharmacy. It took me 3 times to get out there. First time I left the house, I walked over, I got halfway there. I forgot my health insurance card. So I came back. Then I got all the way to the pharmacy and got in line, and they were like, hey, did you bring your vaccine card with you so I can update that? And I was like, totally forgot the vaccine card. Oh my goodness, I just realized I forgot my vaccination card. So I had to go back all the way home and then walk back and get it. Fortunately, it wasn't busy, so it was just regular normal pharmacy kind of stuff. So they were able to get me as soon as I got back. Sat down, got the Pfizer booster, got it in my left arm, which is my non-dominant arm. And I will say, as far as the needle hurting goes, it was a lot less painful than Johnson & Johnson. Johnson & Johnson, I would say, wasn't quite as painful as a tetanus shot, but it was much more painful than a flu shot, which I got the prior week. But the Pfizer shot seemed to me just like a flu shot, if not less painful. Basically, the pharmacist pricked me and I was done. And I was like, oh, that was fast. So I hung out for the 15 minutes afterwards just to make sure, nothing was going to go wrong, kind of like that normal observation period. Picked up some other prescriptions that we needed for the family. And then I went home and I went to bed. That night, my sleep was pretty terrible. I tried to get a little bit more sleep, but I kind of ended up getting the normal amount of sleep. And looking at my sleep metrics, I have a watch that kind of tracks all that stuff while I sleep. I slept a normal-ish amount, which is usually not enough. But my heart rate while I was sleeping was definitely elevated. My heart rate variability was much lower than it normally is, and the beat-to-beat variability was much lower than it is. So that all tells me that while I was sleeping, my body was working hard doing something. So usually those kinds of numbers I don't see unless I ran a race the day before, or had a really, really hard workout. Then that night, that's the kind of numbers that I'm looking at. The following day, I woke up and I was feeling pretty good. I was expecting to not be good at all because when I took Johnson & Johnson, it took about 12 hours for those side effect symptoms to really hit me hard. But 12 hours, 13 hours later, that was kind of kids drop off at school time. So I got up, got the kids' lunches made, got the kids ready to go to school, walked them up there. And I thought at that point, it would hit me like a ton of bricks. It didn't. I started to feel a little bit under the weather, and I definitely may have stopped at the grocery store on the way home to pick up some extra treats that I normally wouldn't get for myself. Came back and just kind of lounged around. Normally I would go for a run after I dropped the kids off, but I decided I was just going to chill out, take the day off from running, and just kind of relax and eat the pastries that I had bought. So that's pretty much all I did. I didn't fall asleep. I didn't feel achy. I just felt kind of tired and just a little bit I had really worked out hard the day before, which I had. I had gone for a pretty hard workout the day prior, but it was a little bit more than just workout from the day before kind of tiredness. So it was just a little bit of extra fatigue, and the brain felt just a little bit foggy. It just kind of felt a little bit groggy. I was still able to do the live stream that day. So I was doing fine enough to go do the hour-long live stream that I normally do. And then also pick up the kids and get them home. By then, I really wasn't feeling 100% at all. I was still kind of feeling the same that I felt in the morning. Maybe a little bit achy, but just overall feeling just a bit tired, and my arm hurt like crazy. Like anytime I tried to lift my shoulder, it felt like I had just gone to like the gym for the first time in forever. So like it was hard to lift my shoulder up, which was, I think, a little bit different than what I experienced with Johnson & Johnson. Made dinner that night and felt overall kind of like the same. But towards that afternoon and into that evening, I did fall asleep and take a nap for maybe like 20 minutes on the couch. But then I made dinner, and then after dinner, I really wasn't all that productive, and I didn't really feel like doing much of anything. And I think I probably felt a little bit worse towards the evening than I did at any point during the day. So it took a little bit more than 24 hours, or about 24 hours, for like the worst of it to hit. But I really just kind of felt like going to sleep, and I felt a little bit achy. And then, of course, I had like the shoulder thing, and that was it. That night, I felt like I got a lot more sleep. I definitely got a lot more sleep based on the sleep tracking numbers. But I also felt like I had gotten really great sleep. I woke up the next morning feeling fantastic. Looking at my sleep metrics numbers, all those numbers were still off though. So like my heart rate while sleeping was still a bit elevated. Beat to beat variability beat to beat interval was low, and heart rate variability was still really low as well. So again, telling me that like even though I felt great, my body was working a bit overnight. So I decided I would take the second day today off from running again, even though I felt great. Taking the kids to school was fine. It was a rainy day, Halloween. Kids are dressed up in their costumes. And just like a normal day. Came home, got a bunch of work done, put out some videos, did another live stream. So I think I'm through the worst of it. Tomorrow I've got an 18-mile run planned. It's going to have 10 of that at marathon effort. So it's going to be a pretty big workout, and I'm itching to go. I'm ready to get out there and get back running again. I was worried that since it was a different type of vaccine from Johnson & Johnson to Pfizer, that it would affect me just as hard. It would be like my body was experiencing something for the first time again. But it didn't seem like that. It just seemed like kind of like what people talk about when they say they had some side effects from the flu shot. So I'd say this one was pretty close to the flu shot. The week before I had the flu shot and I didn't feel anything at all. I hardly even felt soreness in my arm. So I felt great with that one. And this one was just like a little bit, felt off for like a day. Took 2 days off of running. Probably could have cut it down to one if I really needed to, but I don't really need to. I don't think it's going to really impact my training for my marathon coming up in, like 5 weeks. It's coming up in the first week in December. So that's coming up real soon. But I think that, I'm not going to really miss a step in terms of getting ready for that race. So that's my experience with Pfizer in terms of side effects, getting that booster shot after having originally gotten Johnson & Johnson. If you have any questions about it, feel free to put them in the comments down below, or better yet, feel free to stop by the live stream that I do Monday through Friday right here on YouTube. I prefer that, so that way I can be sure I'm talking to a real person and not say like a bot or some other person just like spraying the internet with negative comments. So I'd love to be able to talk to people in real life in the chat. So I'd love to see you guys there. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?